All right, all right, all right. Here we are, another Wednesday evening CNC evening hangout. Hello, folks, and here we got Garrett Liberty, and tonight we are going to be talking lasers. We have, for those of you who have been in the lives, you with Jack in the shop. This guy is a laser expert, and he's been on before and gave a very good presentation about lasers. But it's been a little while, and lasers are a nice complementary aspect to the CNC routers. And just for you folks that want to just do laser, we got that. Also got another little guest I'm going to bring on board after he brings on his presentation, or after Jack does his presentation, and it's the guy that I actually used. Uh, we kind of buddied up in the shop. His name is Chip, and he's just getting into lasers. So I thought it was a really good time to for him to come in and ask questions because he's doing it for business, and I think it was just a good way of doing it. The questions we bring in tonight, put question marks in front of your questions. Let's keep them oriented to lasers, not so much any other CNC stuff. So we'll handle a couple that are already in there, but bring the questions on. So first of all, we are going to bring the Julianne on board. So y'all know Julianne, and oh, I pointed in the right direction. So Liberty is the shipping manager, fulfillment manager for IDC. Liberty, the creator, and Julianne, she takes care of all the. Is she on that side for you? She's on. She's right there. Right.
At the
Okay.
bottom for me.
Okay. Yep. You're on the bottom. So anyway, she takes care of all the stuff, and we're going to do a giveaway tonight, like we always do. So there we go. First, I want to say some hello. Oh, anything we need to announce? Oh,
Um,
Kyle.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay, bring it on. Let folks know, and we'll remind them again later.
So you all have probably heard us talk in and out about Kyle Ely's course and how fantastically wonderful it is. He's actually having a Labor Day sale that starts tomorrow and goes until the 2nd, which offers 20% off his course. So I will throw in that link for that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you
for
guys
sure.
want to learn Vectric, that's the place to do it.
Yep, yep. I always say, if you're going to spend $3, $4, $5,000 on your CNC and all the tooling and setting the thing up and the software, and then you try to do YouTube University to learn the software, it's not really a good way to go. The software is very specific. So Kyle Ely from Learn Your CNC, he has a very structured course for the Vectric software, and many folks in the feed here have taken his course or in his course. He also has a community, private community, and folks, I will tell you that private communities are always higher quality communities than the freebie communities. We'll talk a little bit about that later, and also Kyle will be on next week, so you can bring your Vectric questions. But if you are thinking of getting this course, I do suggest you do it. Liberty, talk a little bit about that real quick before we bring Jack on.
Yeah, Kyle's course is great. He covers everything from A to Z and takes it chunk by chunk, breaking it down into, really manageable sections, as well as easily to reference back to. And he literally walks you how to use not only every single tool on Vectric, but then how to apply it over into the tool paths and then all the different cool things you can do by mixing the tools and so on and so forth. But it really is a take it at your pace course, and it's amazing to be able to reference back to, like, I know how to do this, but also let me double check and, pop back and watch that video real quick or what have you.
Right. Yep. So as you can tell, Liberty's not feeling so good today. So give her a little bit of love, folks. Here's a little love for you, Liberty, from Doug. You say, hey, Liberty, M&M girl, you rock.
Thank
All right.
you.
So Julianne will be in the background, monitoring all the questions, making sure they get queued for us, and pumping in the links. And the links for things we talk about will be in the description of the video. So there we go. Thanks, Julianne. But let's say a couple of hellos. We got Doug and Robert, Wayne, Wooden Indian Carving. That's Mike, Todd, Cody, the Denny Bit guy. What's going on there, Cody, brother? Wally, Bruce, John.
Jeff from Windy City on.
Yep.
Brian
Mike.
Cut, Brian Wade.
We had a good talk last week.
Todd, whiskey and tea.
Yep,
You're not wrong, Todd.
right. We had a good discussion last week. What do we got? Hi, all from North Texas. So we're just going to be punching your names up here. John, hello, John. Talked to him on the phone last week. I forgot what I was just saying. Oh, well. All right. So we are going to get into lasers tonight. Remember, we're going to be giving away later on. Kyle Ely's got 20% off his course Labor Day sale starting tomorrow, going till Tuesday. And maybe we'll send out an email to remind the CNC insiders. You ready to talk laser, Liberty, and start learning? Let's do it. So we're going to bring Jack on, and after he's done, then we'll bring Chip in to ask questions that you would be asking if you're brand new with lasers, and we will take care of your questions as well. All right, this is Jack. Jack in the shop. What's going on, Jack? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Liberty. Hey, everybody in chat.
Yeah. So, Jack, for those who don't know who you are, when you give a little, a little 3-minute Cliff Note version of what you do and all this genius stuff you do.
I do a little bit of everything. I was building computers when I was 14, and always been into electronics, and that just one thing led to another. So, I'm into CNC router, CNC plasma, 3D printing, of course, lasers. I dabble in a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, to give you an idea of what Jack does, he likes to create stuff. He took his long mill CNC and turned it into a plasma cutter, which I haven't seen. I think you sent me pictures of that a long time ago.
I think I did.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again. So we got about 250 people on board right now, and that number's going to be climbing up. Actually climbing up right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to do your little spiel about introduction to the lasers, and you're going to do a little bit of Lightburn talk, right? And then we'll bring.
Yeah, I'm going to get a high-level intro to the Lightburn interface.
Okay. Well, you ready to dive in?
Go ahead and you share my screen if you want to. I've got Lightburn pulled up.
Okay. There we go.
Of course. I guess everybody's already going to notice when you bring the Lightburn up, everybody's already going to recognize your workspace. And everybody's already going to know what the design tools are over on your left-hand side. Down here at the bottom, we've got all these little colored squares. You can think of those as your bits, your different bits. So if you was to come in here and draw a shape, you could put it on different layers and have different settings for each color. And instead of changing out bits, you would have different, just different layers.
Okay, so each color is a power setting and a speed setting, basically?
Yeah, there's all kinds of settings in there. We'll get into that in just a second. This on red, so you can see it. I just reinstalled my computer, got everything fresh here. This is a fresh install of Lightburn.
Okay.
Some of the first things you might want to do when you first get into Lightburn is open your settings. There's a lot of settings in here you can change. Only a few things you really would want to pay attention to. In the display, the field rendering, that makes the rendering just a little bit slower, but you wouldn't really notice it. If I turn that on, you see I got my line up here. If I turn this line, we can think of line as a profile cut. And if I make that a fill, that's like a pocket. And if I did not have that field rendering turned on, you wouldn't be able to tell. It would just be like this all the time. So that's why you would want to have that field rendering turned on.
So when you install the software, that's not turned on?
That is not turned on by default.
Okay.
Let's see. Another thing you might want to do, the grid contrast. It usually comes in as a low. You can hardly see your grid in the background. So that's the second thing I usually turn on. And that's in, again, turn that to high. That's in units and grids. While we are in the units and grids, we can see our move increments down here. So if you use your arrow keys to move these shapes around, these move increments determine how far they move. If you hold the control and arrow, it moves by 1 millimeter. The arrow by itself will move 5 millimeters. Shift arrow will move 20 millimeters.
So is that when you're saying move, okay? When you're saying move increments, is that equal to jogging, or is it moving
Yes.
it's moving the component that the
the selected component.
Okay, so it's not jogging the machine; it's moving the.
So if you've got two selected components, it'll jog. Both have jog just the shape, not the machine hit. That's just for the design features. Let's get rid of those. Lightburn has an interesting feature that actually lets you save your projects, lets you save your art designs in the program. I don't have any in here right now, but if you right click on your work area, you can go to Windows, hit Art Library, and you can bring up your art. If I hit load, here's all of my art. Like I said, this was a brand new install of Lightburn, so I'm just going to put all of my art in here. Cancel. Now it loaded all of my art. Each one of these categories has all of my vectors in here, and these are just things that I have worked on over the years. There's all my business cards, and there's all my earrings. I do wooden earrings, acrylic earrings. I just got a ton of art, and that's one way you can save your art. You just double click on it, and it'll bring it into your work area.
So Lightburn does not come with pre-installed art, correct?
It does not. That's all the art that I've saved up over the years.
Okay.
And worked on. Another library that Lightburn has is settings libraries. If you come over here, you see your material library, and down here you got your material.
Where are you at on the screen?
Over on the right-hand lower side.
Lower right, okay.
I think I got that. I don't have my. Right now, I've got the CO2. The only settings that I have saved is for the fiber laser. I don't have the fiber laser machine in here yet. So when you want to install a new machine, you click Devices. If you click Find My Laser, it's usually pretty good about picking up anything that's connected to a USB port. Or you can create one manually. And let's see, Rowita is my CO2. Marlin, all sorts of different control boards are in here. You just pick the one you need.
So
JCZ is my fiber laser.
That's pre-installed in Lightburn, so you can just.
These are pre-installed.
Okay.
Almost think about these like your post processors.
Okay.
And you set your X and your Y. I use a 110 millimeter lens on my fiber laser. And now you can come over here and you can pick which laser you want to go to. I got my CO2 or my fiber laser. Now if I go to my material library, well, I thought I had I must not have put it on this computer. I don't have my libraries in here yet for my settings. So let's just look at the settings real quick. Make sure we're on CO2. So if we bring our shapes in here, it puts us a layer over here on our cuts and layers box. If I double click that, here's our settings. I use millimeters per second for everything. And this is going to be determined by what kind of material you're cutting. On the CO2, I do a lot of 3 millimeter plywoods. So I would from on my 60 watt, 60 millimeters per second. I said that wrong. I'm sorry. That's for engraving. I'm going to go 8 millimeters a second at 60% power. Yeah, I said that backwards. This is a feel, kind of like a pocket. So we've got this other setting down here called line interval. And that'll change how dark, how close the lines are together. So it'll change how dark your engrave is. If we had put that on line, you wouldn't have that line interval because it's just going to do the outline. On my diode laser, I always run it at 100% power no matter what. And I just changed the speed to change the how deep I want to engrave or how dark I want to engrave. It's not going to hurt your diode laser to run it at 100% power at all. You can either run it at 100% power and get done with the job faster, or you can run it at a lower power percentage and have to run it longer. So it's going to equal out to about the same anyway. A CO2, you do not want to run those at 100% power. Keep them under 80, at least 80. That's sort of the high level view. I know I did have a question about repeatability. I'm just going to copy an image real fast of a knife. Say if we wanted to engrave this knife. I know some people would want to come over here and grab the pen tool and start tracing that knife out. That's tedious. I quit doing that a long time ago. I grab my square tool. I draw me a square around it. And I'm going to come over here to my node editing tool. When I click on it, you notice I'm not going to see any nodes because this is not a vector yet. When you first put a shape in here, that's an object. So if I click on it, right click on it, and convert to path, now it's a vector. So when I go to my node editing tool, you will see the nodes show up. And I'll just pull the nodes where they need to be. I'll grab that line and make me a little arc right there.
How did you turn on the
node on each sharp corner, and I'll just pull the arc down to trace out that shape.
Okay.
I like doing that because that.
How did you turn on the nodes?
The node tool is over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth, sixth icon down.
Okay, over to the left.
Yes.
Okay.
You might have to hit I to insert a node and draw it up. And this is a very bad purchase. I just copied this off the internet, but just to do a real quick trace, this is one of the quickest ways you can trace your items and have as few nodes as possible. That's another thing. I want as few nodes as possible. Sometimes it's hard to see that line. You pull your handles out. So node editing is very easy. Node editing is nothing to be intimidated by whatsoever. But once you get that traced out, you can take this square and put that around that knife and have that fit to your material. And when you cut this out, you've got a jig. That'll be your piece of plywood of a knife, and you can put that right down in the bottom of your work area, bottom of your honey pad. It'll fit right into that honeycomb. And that's how you can have repeatability. You just put your knife right in that cutout, and you can do one knife right after the other. That's how easy it is to make a quick jig.
Huh.
Of course, I would take that image away, and we'll be left with this. But there's your jig.
All right. So you use that to engrave right on the knife. basically.
and you can engrave right on the knife. And it's perfectly lined up every time. And you keep this jig. Anything you start engraving on, you're going to have to do your testing. If I took my laser up to your shop, I would have to redo all of my tests because the environment changes. It will change your result on the engrave.
So how does the environment impact the laser if you change it?
That's something I'm not really sure about. I don't know why, but I do know that I don't know if the temperature, the ambient temperature, that'll change the outcome of your engrave, especially on metals. But since you've got this set up, you got your jig set up, you come over here and grab your text tool. Let's make that a lot smaller. And you could actually engrave your settings for this knife in your jig. That way you've always got your settings right there at hand. So that's one thing I know Miss Ellen was wanting to know about was repeatability. And jigs like that are super easy to make, no matter what kind of part you're wanting to trace. What I would typically do is when I took a picture of the item that I was wanting to trace out, I take a picture of it with a tape measure behind it.
Okay. I
could draw me out a square. I see up here, I'm in millimeters. I can just click this button right here and go to inches that quick. Width, say if that was 5 inches, we had a 5-inch square there. I'd make this 5-inch square match 5 inches on that tape measure. I'd stretch this picture out until that tape measure read 5 inches on this square.
Okay.
And that's how you know that's going to be perfectly sized. But that's just a quick overview of how the Lightburn system itself works. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. When you're going with a CO2 or a diode, that's pretty much the only 3 settings you have to work with is your power, speed, and infill. Or not infill, but line interval, DPIs.
Okay.
I do 3D printing too, and that's where I got infill.
So when you set up a laser and you set this stuff up here, then you have to test everything and make sure all your power settings are going to work relative to something else. And what?
If you go up to laser tools up here,
Yeah.
we've got a material test right here.
Okay.
This will give you can have as many squares as you want to. This will make little squares at different intervals. You can set up your minimum speed, minimum power, maximum power, and it will make a grid of all those different settings in between your mins and your maxes right there. And that will give you a material test.
And
at the bottom,
so,
it'll give you speed. At the side, it'll give you the power. And you can match the color you want and just plug those settings into your material.
and where's this setting? Where's this test feature? Where'd you pull it in from?
If you go to the top, you see laser tools.
Okay.
You come on down, you see material tests.
Okay. All right. So when somebody gets their Lightburn, the first thing they need to do is turn on those 2 options that you talked about before. All right. Then they have to select what laser type they have.
Yes.
And then the next logical thing is to go into testing to make sure your settings are going to work with whatever you're doing based on what your environment, whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Material tests are very important, but they will vary a little bit. Different parts of material, you know how wood grains work. Different parts of material is going to react differently because of a tighter grain. So you will get a little bit of variances. Bamboo is about the worst. Bamboo is not really wood; it's a grass, but it is the worst about changing. It's the worst about trying to get a consistent dark mark on a bamboo cutting board, engraving for an engraving.
Okay. So so there's a couple things that you do with the Lightburn. Once you start making a project, right? You have two different kinds of burns, I guess. Would that be the terminology you use?
You're talking about like the
Yeah. So you have the cut through. You have the cut through, and then you're not cutting all the way through.
engrave, yeah.
Yeah.
So that black would be a cutout, and that red would be a pocket, like an engrave.
So are the little color icons down below? Is that something that's preset so that you would know which ones?
They are preset, but they're not going to be what you want. You're going to go in and change those.
Okay, up in the upper right. So what are
Yes.
each one of these items in the upper right? You got two in there right now.
This is the red layer. That's the engrave.
Yeah.
This is the black layer. That's the outline right here.
And that's the cutout.
You can come over here and if I wanted to engrave this, but I didn't want to cut it out, I could use this black line just like a tool path,
Uh-huh.
and I could just come over here and turn the output off. You see it got a little bit lighter in color. It just grayed out just a little bit.
Okay.
So that is still there, and that will line up your project, but it will not. The laser will not try to cut that. It'll only cut what's turned on right here. And then you could go in here and just not show it at all.
All right. So over to the left of the screen, the horizontal icons, those are the various shapes, right?
Yes.
And then what is
Different tool paths.
Okay. And then there's stuff down like at the bottom half of that. What is that? What's the difference between the shapes and what's ever on the bottom half?
This down here is your job position. Absolute coordinates is going to, if your machine has homing switches, absolute coordinates is always going to be lit up in green, and it usually in your bottom left, but you can change that. On my CO2, sometimes I'll use current position, and that's going to, you'll have to manually set your laser head at the corner of your material right there, and that's where it will start. But if you are on absolute coordinates, it's always going to start where you have that little green dot right there.
So that green dot is the machine home.
That's where your machine head would be.
Some lasers, you just drag them into position. At least I've seen that with the little ones.
That's bad practice, really. It really is, but you can do that. This is true of any CNC, really. You don't want, if you do move them, you don't want to move them really fast, because when you're moving steppers, they are no longer a motor, they become a generator. They are creating electricity and feeding that back into your control board, and that can damage your control board, especially on some of the lower end diodes. So it's really a bad practice to move the head around by hand. I see a lot of people doing it.
Okay. All right. Good to know that. So you use the machine. When you power up the machine, do you generally send it home, or you just jog it?
It'll home as soon as you turn it on. Most all your lasers have homing switches, and they'll home as soon as you turn them on.
Okay. All right. So folks who are just getting into Lightburn, what are some of the things that you would say they need to know right off the bat, besides some of the settings? What are like the big pointers that as a beginner they really need to zero in on?
Practice.
Yeah,
Get in there and play with it. Do your material settings. That's about it. Get that back in here.
When they practice, what kind of material would you recommend they practice on?
Here we go. 3mm plywood is about the best. I like 3mm plywood, and it does depend on what sort of laser you have. If you've got a CO2, acrylics can be real fun. You can do acrylics on the diode, but they have to be dark acrylics. You're not going to cut through clear acrylics at all on a diode. It has to be a CO2.
Okay. And that's because of the frequency of the laser, is that right?
That's from the wavelength of the light coming out, yeah.
Okay. What's the difference between a diode, CO2 for the folks that are wondering we got what diode, we have CO2, fiber.
Diode, CO2s, and fibers is the three primary ones a consumer will have access to, yeah. Of course, your CO2 laser is produced with a glass tube 90% of the time. That has a invisible beam that comes out. It's infrared. You cannot see that beam. That don't mean it ain't dangerous. You may need to make sure you have special glasses rated for the wavelength of the laser you're using. Of course, a diode, they'll mostly be blue. You can see those. And of course, a fiber, it's IR as well. You can't see it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I want to bring Chip on to ask some questions. So we'll introduce him in a second. But first, was there something else you wanted to cover?
I was going to show the trace tool real quick. But
Okay. Yeah, do that.
This image is so bad, it's not going to trace very well. This was just one of the first images I found on the internet just now. So this is going to be awful trace. But inside of Lightburn, it does have a really good trace. But if you look, this picture is awful. As you know, and when you bring an image in, if you bring garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. But if you right click on the image, we can go to our trace image. And we've got these sliders here we can play with. If I bring it up a bit, I can actually get a little bit on this image, but not much. That's just not a good image to mess with.
And so the
Of course, when
slide.
you trace the image, it's the same thing. It'll be grouped. And you can come up here and ungroup that image so you can get rid of all this noise right here.
Okay. That's pretty messy. That's kind of like some of the trace
That's
tools.
very messy.
And when you have a lot of different colors or not a very good bitmap, you'll get.
It does really good. Anytime you bring an image into Lightburn,
Yeah.
it's automatically going to make it black and white. So there won't be any colors whatsoever.
Oh,
But it does have one of the best trace tools of any of the CAD programs. It's better than Inkscape. I like it better than VCarve. But like I said, this is just the awfulest image you could find.
okay. And the
I
quality
didn't
of,
want to get something that,
of course, the quality of the image is going to have an impact as well.
yes, 100%.
Okay. All right. I want to bring Chip in to ask some questions. I'm going to take your screen back down for a minute. And folks, those that have questions, we have them in the queue and we will grab those. But I do want to remind you, Kyle Ely jumped into the audience. And like we said in the beginning, he's the vector training. He's got the vector training course, which I highly recommend. And many people are in that here. And he is starting tomorrow doing a Labor Day weekend discount, going all the way up to the end of Tuesday, 20% off of his course. So it's a good time to jump in. If you're not sure, he's got a little boot camp course that you can do for free to see how he trains and see if you like it. All right. So folks, I want to bring in a friend of mine. His name is Chip. Chip, here we go. Hello, Chip.
Howdy.
Yeah. So Liberty knows Chip. Julianne knows Chip. He's right down the stairs from us. So with the reason I'm bringing Chip in is because he's just getting into doing laser work in his business, and so I figure it's a good time for him to just come in and ask some questions. But I would want to talk a little bit about how I met Chip. So it was 4 years ago, like four and a half years ago. My apartment was upstairs. His store is downstairs. And I just went over and I think I asked you about glass. something about glass because I was
Yeah.
doing
I think
glass.
you were etching, you were engraving on glass.
Yeah. So I wanted to just get some pointers, and we got to talking. And as time went on, he had some space. He got hold of that space, and we kind of partnered up as far as space wise. And so I had room in his space, and I helped you out for a while too. I was working for
Yeah,
you
you
a little bit.
Because I was working another job.
Yeah. So tell people about what you do and then why you're here, what you want to create.
Yeah. So my name's Chip. I have Benzer's Custom Framing. We've been on Main Street in Madison, Indiana it'll be 30 years coming up in December. So I've mainly for the last 25, 26 years have mainly just done custom framing. And I started getting into printing a few years ago. And with the space that Garrett and I shared, I started adding more equipment. I mean, it's almost double the space of what I had. So I've added more equipment, and with that equipment, I've been coming up with other products, and I've got them online now. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to produce these. Liberty actually made a template for me to make this particular product that I'll show you. And why that works really well, there was a day that I tried to do 4 or 5, and it really was pretty time consuming. So make a long story short, Garrett left, when he moved out, he left a small Monfort laser cutter in the back. And it had never been opened. I mean, it had never been used. I mean, it still had all the stuff in the package. And so I got that out. And I'm like, well, I'm going to try this out. So the ticket or the key to this product really it's perfect for laser cutting. I mean, it's hard to explain why. I can show you a couple of examples here, but the main question I have for Jack in going forward with this is, and I want to buy a bigger laser. Right now, the one I have is only 8x12, and the products I'm doing are up to 35 or 30 inches, tall by 24 wide. So the Lightburn workspace looks very similar to AutoCAD. I'm really familiar. I used AutoCAD for several years from my father-in-law's company. I also use Illustrator, on a daily basis. So the workspace looks very similar. What can I open file types from AutoCAD and Illustrator in Lightburn?
You can export SVGs and open those in Lightburn.
Yeah.
But it will not open the native file format now.
Right. So, I mean, I have to save. Would it be better to use Illustrator and save it as what file type did you say?
SVG.
SVG. Okay. I think both of those programs support that. When I would send Garrett stuff, I had him make something for me, and I think it was a EPS file, maybe. I don't know if that sounds right. Mm-hmm. There's several files I can save my drawings in AutoCAD or Illustrator, and when you go to save as, you get like a million types. And I know there's DXT. There's a bunch of them. So is that the only file that laser or the Lightburn supports? Is that SVG?
It does DXF as well.
Oh,
I do not like DXF files.
Yeah.
DXF has too many nodes in it, correct?
Too many nodes, too many straight lines. Right. It'll really mess up a file.
Okay. Before you go on, Chip, I wanted to just so people know what you do a little bit more. Do you have a couple samples there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of explained how I got started with this. So I found this old license plate, and I thought it was pretty cool. It's Indiana, 1936. So I took a picture of it and I printed it, and I was like, well, what am I going to do now? So I went from there to this, and I'll have to stand back. So I made a bigger size and transferred the image. So you can see this is the two sizes. And I kind of like the novelty of making a large license plate. So, and it's on Masonite. And so using the template that Liberty, is mainly these slots. I can kind of round the corners with the sander, but these slots were kind of crucial. It's really hard to do that by hand and have them look, not, like they would be. So I went from there and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. So then I got another license plate. Made that, this is an actual Indiana license plate that was a dealer plate. And so I started making I was like, well, what if I could customize the letters? And so from there, I went from that to this. And so I changed the year to the year that I opened my shop and the Finzer, and just kept mulling around with the idea. And so I've made a couple of these, and I kind of like that and I've been selling them just from them being in the window of my store, So I use kind of an AI feature to create these letters. So when you look at it, it really looks like the letters are really, the original letters of the license plate. So then from there, going back to my old license plate, this was the original image. And then I really liked it more than any of the others. So then I went from there to Madison. So still the 36, still the Indiana, but all the letters or all the numbers were changed to letters, and they really look like, looking at it in person, the way I take a picture of it, it looks three-dimensional, and the letters look like the letters that are really on there. So it's kind of cool. So the problem is using a router, using a sander. I mean, we're talking about some time, and then, you can also see the white edge of the paper because I mount these to this board. So when I found that little laser, I started cutting out little shapes, like that. So this is actually a small version. And the problem is that my slots didn't line up with the slots in the picture. And that's kind of the crucial part of this product, is being able to start the laser like right here and know that it's going to go, around and hit those marks. I mean, one way would be to take out the slots in the image and let the slots just be cut, close to where they are. That was probably the way to do it. But it really cuts those slots really nice. I mean, you look at that and it's like perfect,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm looking for, is to be able to, cut the rounded corners, cut the slots. But it's not a thing where I cut the board and then apply the image. It's the image is on the board, and I've got to cut the image and have it cut precisely where I want it. So that you can see how far off it is,
Yeah.
So that's kind of my main thing, is the file types, because I can create this in Illustrator or AutoCAD, and have it. I can print it out and make sure it lines up exactly how I want. But placing the material in the bed of the laser is what I'm really looking at, so that it will basically look like the ones I showed you, only cut out more precise.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
print you have those generated through AI, then you print them out and then you glue them
Yeah.
on the Masonite. And you
Yeah.
can do any kind of license plate, like you can have it say, be a vanity license plate or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I have them all 50 states on my website now.
All right, so
And,
they're custom plates,
yeah.
and
And
okay,
they're all,
there you go, folks.
the era of the embossed, the ones that are newer that are just an image, those aren't very interesting. So I kind of went through. I bought the whole 50 states on eBay,
Okay,
and they were called vintage, but there's some like 80s and 90s plates in there that aren't as cool. So I've kind of mixed those around. But that's kind of the idea, is more of the customized part. I mean, because other than that, why would you want a plate that said 1936 if you had
Right.
nothing,
right.
So if
Okay.
you can put your birth year or your county or your name or your dog's name or whatever,
All right, there you go.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah. So, all right, there you go, folks. You want a custom plate? You can go to his website. We're linking it here in the description. And
This thing, I'll show you real
is there
quick.
is there a way they can communicate with you if they wanted something custom made?
Yeah, they can. If they go to the website, there's, or they can go to chiptheframer@gmail. That's
Okay.
pretty simple. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Bob the Builder.
Yeah.
chiptheframer@gmail. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the question you have is repeatability in your positioning. That's mainly the big
Right.
question. And also, which laser would be good for this type of work, right?
Yeah, I've looked at
What material is that?
it's Masonite. It's less than, it's probably like what you were talking. It's probably like it's not a 1/4 inch. It's like 3/16 maybe, which I don't know how that translates to millimeters, but I'd love to have, if Lightburn was not in millimeters, if it was, can't change it to
I am
inches?
extremely bilingual when it comes to metric and imperial. I switch
Good.
back and forth constantly, and Lightburn is just
Yeah.
one button to go back and forth. If you share my screen, I can actually show you something real quick.
Okay.
All right, I just come up with this real fast while he was talking. When you got your license plate in there, you
Mm-hmm.
can just draw your shape out right there. You select that right there, and when you go to frame, you can go frame that, and there we go. You got a frame button right here, and that laser will trace that little circle. You can see exactly where it's going to cut. It's a good thing about lasers. And when you come
Oh,
to the
so
edge here with
yeah.
this selected, you can hold your control, and you get this little blue dot right there. Well, when you click on that blue dot, if I go down, it's going to make a concave shape. But if I go back to the left, it's going to round that over on all four corners.
Okay.
The license plates like that, that'd be really easy to trace out in Lightburn.
So I would just transfer the image to Lightburn and then do what you just did, instead of
Right.
trying to set up a template to work on all of them. You know.
Once you got that, you can just one right after the other.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's very similar to Illustrator as far as, when you draw a square, it's got those same little handles in the corner to make it a
What is
curve.
Illustrator's file format? AI?
AI is the file format.
Lightburn does import AIs, but I would suggest sticking with SVGs.
SVG. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. I'm also doing these little, I'm not trying to make a plug, but these, Garrett, actually, I'm going to have to stand back. Garrett cut this out for me, and I had to do the print later and try to cut it out. So if I could just put a rectangular piece in there and then have Lightburn cut it out, lining it up, that would be way easier. I actually used this as a template to route out a note, and it wasn't as smooth, so, but that's mainly what was the compatibility with Illustrator and AutoCAD. Are you
It'll
able
bring
to
in all
talk about
sorts of different
brands?
files. You go to import, and you can see it'll do PDFs and all kinds of stuff. But
Okay.
I know DXF and some of them other ones can really mess the file up a little bit.
Yeah.
So for the other question was positioning, right? So if whatever machine you have, once you have it, if you send it home and you base your thing off of that, does the Lightburn work with offsets? Work offsets? Jack?
Work offsets.
Like G55, 56, 57.
It does have a console. I don't use it. I don't even have it on here right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can get to that console, but as far as saving those, you can save a go-to position. So when it gets done, it'll park up at the top somewhere, but it does not really have the work offsets like you're talking about.
So as long as you have your material square on the bed, and you make your starting point, say at the bottom corner or the top corner, then it should, follow that pattern the whole way through.
Yes.
Okay.
And I said when you do your frame, when you frame it out,
Mm-hmm.
like you can just select that one slot, frame that out, and you might want to select that one slot over here and frame it out. Once you got those two, everything else is going to be perfect.
Okay, that makes sense.
Can you lock the vectors into position? Maybe so you can accidentally move them.
In position, I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you mean like a grouping feature?
In position
Garrett?
with the rest of them, you can. You can select them.
I think that's what
Select
you mean.
like if I hold my control, I can select just these two vectors, and I can group those to lock them to each other. But you can still move them around the workspace.
Okay. Yeah, I think in Vectric you can lock your vectors so you can't move them. just going to try one right now and see if I can do it. So I was just seeing if you have that ability. There's a lock somewhere. I think maybe on the layers. You can lock layers, so it can't move things in the layers in Vectric. But anyway, yep.
Yeah, because the each license plate's different. Some of them have holes, some of them have slots. You know, I mean, obviously, if I did one of South Carolina, North Carolina, I would save it so that the next time I don't have to, you know, redo it.
So your trick is making sure that the print the print when you put it on the thing, you can get to the proper position on that plate, right?
Right.
After you put it out. So that print location can change or what?
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yeah, well, like, so say like this where I'm off, you know, I cut this, I had this, I think I had just a solid 8x12 because that's the biggest you can go on that Monfort.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an 8x12 and I tried to position the laser, the little guide on this corner, thinking that it would stay true to that and the slots would end up where they are. The problem with that program is that I had to draw the slots and everything on there. I couldn't import it and have it be exactly like my image. Like if I did a drawing in AutoCAD and I printed it and my slots and everything lined up, but it wouldn't accept it, you know, under different file types. And even the file types it said it would accept. And when I would go to open them, nothing happened. So, you know,
that's why I like SVGs.
What's that?
That's why I like SVGs.
Yeah. So, so that's the issue is because I'm starting out with a solid piece that already has the image. It has to pretty much, if it was the other way around, it'd be easy. Just stick it in there and it would cut out in the center. And then I'd have a blank basically like this and then work with that. But I need to have it to where it's this and it's cutting it out exactly where I need it to cut it out. You know, I can fudge a little bit here and there, but pretty much I want to be able to cut it out and be done with it. Because right now I'm spending a lot of time getting these things perfect. You know.
Yeah, you frame out them ovals and they'll be perfect.
Yeah,
you can see where it's going to cut before it cuts.
Yeah, just the one I'm using, that little one it's amazing the difference. So.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So did that help you out, Chip?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Because I want to.
What about different brands? Are you at liberty to talk about what you like as far as a laser that's, you know, that I think some of the sizes I've seen are 35 by 25. It's like an odd size, but
you get in the larger ones. That's really going to bump up the price. I don't have a particular brand that I care for. Most all these lasers have the same parts on the inside. Right. So when you're paying all this money for these big name brands, you're paying for support. I'm not one to call support. Something happens, I'm going to tear it apart and get into it. Okay. So I buy the cheapest ones I can find. That's just me. I can't.
Yeah, you think they last as long? It's just the support that's the difference.
Yes, they're the same exact parts. Just like a computer. When you buy a computer, you either got a Seagate or a Western Digital hard drive. When you get a fiber laser, you've got a Max source or you got a JPT source. I actually bought a Raycus fiber laser. I had it for like 4 months. I wasn't 100% happy with the power. I tore it apart and I put a 100 watt JPT source in it. So I rebuilt it from the ground up.
Okay.
And the CO2s are the same way. You can put larger CO2s in them, but the higher you go in wattage, the longer the tube's going to be. So it might be sticking out the end a little bit. You might have to build your little box going in. Yeah, but they pretty much always got the same parts on the inside.
Yeah. Well, now I know I can, through Garrett, I can call you if I have a problem with something.
There you go. Yeah. You might want to go check out the channel, Louisiana Laser Guy, I think.
Louisiana Hobby Guy. That's Rich. Down in Louisiana, yep.
Louisiana Hobby Guide?
Yep. He's got a lot of videos out, and he's really good at this stuff, too.
Okay.
All right.
Hobo with Wood is a really good source. He's my next door neighbor over here. He's really good with Lightburn.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I want to start getting into some of the questions that people have. We got quite a few in the queue.
Thanks for having me on, by the way. I appreciate you letting me have the questions.
Yeah. for sure. And again, folks, Chip, he's got those custom plates, and you can make pretty much anything on them, right? You can make vanity plates, make them look ancient. So you can go to his website if you want something, good present, right? Gift, Christmas gift, or Father's Day gift, or just put it in your man cave shop or your woman cave shop.
Yep. Sure thing. Thank you.
Yep. Definitely check out his thing. So, all right, Chip, you hang out in the background. You can sit there and watch. And actually, I think I want to keep you on board just in case there's a question that somebody has, and it spawns another question from you. But first, I just want to say to Bill, gave us a $5 super sticker, Liberty. We're going to put that towards your fund for Texas, your steak fund, Texas steak fund. Liberty and Julianne are going to Texas. That is next month, right? I keep forgetting whether September or they're going to the Texas Woodworking Fest. So, and they are going to take an extra day down there. I just told them to take an extra day. So thank you, Bill. All right, let's hit it. Jack, let's get on here. I'm just going to minimize your screen, or Julianne, please minimize his screen so we got everybody up. And so the question is, Garrett, speaking of Monport, did I ever get my laser running? And I ended up selling that just because I never really played with it. And unfortunately, a week after
I could have used it.
A week after it got picked up, Chip said, "Hey, can you use still that laser?" And it's like, why does it happen like that? We could have used it. And I even messaged you to see if you were interested beforehand.
Yeah.
One of our CNC brothers here, Greg, actually got hold of it. Greg from STL Woodworking came up here and picked it up. Robert is saying, Jack, if you had a choice between lasers and routers, which one would you choose and why?
Tough question. Because I do like to do everything, but I probably do more laser work, but my CNC products bring more per project. That'd be a tough choice.
So why does laser just come out just over the edge just a little bit?
Customizing individual products.
Okay.
I do pocket knives. I do that with the diode laser. Then I do the blade with the fiber laser. You can, with a laser, you can customize anything. And when you customize something, you can 3x whatever that product cost.
Okay. And here's an idea, folks. So I've seen people do this. They'll buy the real inexpensive cutting boards. They buy the bamboo cutting boards and they buy them in bulk. They pay $8 a board or something like that. Customize it. Now they charge $40 for it. And
Get hooked up with a realtor and they clean house.
Realtors are really good with that one. Richard, question: how do I design for the bowl cutout with my Vectric 11.5? So that's a CNC router question. Richard, I bring that question to us next week. Actually, it's better to do that next week because Kyle's going to be on board and we can talk about the Vectric then. So hold that question, brother. We're going to stick to lasers questions as much as possible. Dale, I would like to know more about the laser that can come with the alt mill MK2. What are the pros and cons? So I don't have the laser for the alt mill. I do have a laser that came with the long mill. I've used it a few times, not much. But Jack, we talked about that briefly. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
I'm not sure what they offer with the long mill, but if it's like the one that comes with the long mill, I would not advise it because it's a 5-watt. I know the original long board cannot provide enough power for anything over a 5-watt laser. And that's just enough to make you angry. It's enough to make you fed up with lasers and not want to continue with them.
Yeah, I know the alt mill super long board has a bit more power going off of it, but I don't know if it's the same laser or not.
If it's a 20-watt or above, I'd say go for it. I like keeping the parts separate if I can, because if you got your laser going Well, that's tying up your CNC. So you're stuck with one project at a time. Now, I know I'm in the same boat with my router and my plasma, but I just don't have any more room for another machine.
Okay. How is saying, okay, this is a quick non-laser question. I use ore mask on a project. I had sealed with lacquer. When I pulled the ore mask off, left a lot of sticky residue. Any suggestion on how to remove the sticky stuff? I had the same problem, Howard, on a big project. And what I did, I put it in a warmer environment and the adhesive got soft and I could just take my thumb and I could just roll it off like any of that gummy stuff. So just warm it up. Not too hot, but 80 degrees or something to that effect. And you should be able to roll it right off. Next one is Richard, grandkid. Oh, this is for you, Liberty. Grandkids love the M&Ms. They want me to buy more bits. So Liberty always packages M&Ms in your packages, every order, right? Every single order. Yeah, we haven't done an M&M feed and speed test lately. I'm going to have to get some more M&Ms. Wooden Indian carvings, Mike. What about lasing different color layers of paint on various substrates?
I do a good bit of that. I was right before the stream started. I was trying to find a tile that I did, a ceramic tile. I've done ceramic tile. I do a lot of canvas. I'll put a white coat down. Then I might put a green coat, let it dry. Then the very top layer will be a black layer. And of course, you'll have to do your material test to see how much power it takes to get through each layer. But of course, the darkest colors are always going to burn easier. So you can do canvas paintings, tile paintings, all kinds of different, just by layering your paints.
Okay, but you always go from light to dark. From the bottom is the light, dark is the top. Interesting.
If you do not cover the canvas with a white coat of paint, the laser will start to char that cotton canvas, and it'll actually catch fire if you ain't careful.
Okay, Chip, you do custom framing. Does that like you get pictures and stuff, and you're doing modifications on pictures? Do you think is there something in that area that you might be kind of interested in?
You mean using lasers with? I wasn't sure what he meant by the colors with the lasers. Different colors.
Spray cans, just acrylic spray paint.
Oh, just spray paint.
Spray paint. I use Rust-Oleum.
So you're saying you spray the canvas and then you use the laser to draw on it? Is that what I'm understanding?
What you would have to do is take your image and invert it, because you're spraying white just as a protective layer. Right. Then you'll put black on top of it, and your laser is etching away the black layer to reveal your image.
Oh, okay.
It's reflecting. It's reflecting off the white.
Right. Wow, I never thought about it. I didn't know you could even do that. So you can control the laser so it's only going through the black and showing the bottom color. Is that
right?
Okay.
And like I said, if you stack your colors, you can have a light pass to get rid of the black, and it might show a green or a red layer. Have another pass that's a little bit more powerful that gets rid of that layer. You could have a 3 or 4 layer painting.
And that's where you would use those different layers in Lightburn to adjust, so if you're doing your blue or whatever the color is, you can adjust that speed and the power and all that. Gotcha. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Also, folks, I didn't say about Chip. He also does custom framing. So I guess they can send you pictures, right? Send you stuff.
Oh, yeah. We do pictures and printing. The website has where you can print off your phone, upload off your phone, and we can send it to you in a canvas or a paper, wrapped canvas, paper, or with a frame on it. So.
Right, okay. And usually I've given Chip a lot of stuff, and I just give it to him. He's really good at coming up with the concept, the matte colors and what have you, the frame, type of frame. So he's got a really good eye for doing it after 30 years. All right, we got Funwayo. Can tiling be done with both X and Y axis in the same file in Vectric? All right, that's not really laser oriented. Bring that question next week. We have Kyle Ely coming on board, the guy I was talking about that's having the Labor Day sale on the Vector course starting tomorrow up till Tuesday. For Matthew, Jack, what laser did you start with?
I actually started with the K40. At the time, it was a $250 40-watt laser, small itty bitty work area. First thing
Diode?
I had to do was rip all the guts out of it so you get something in there big enough to work on. But it took a lot of modifications. It didn't have air assist. You had to add that. So I wouldn't suggest. I didn't have it very long before I stepped up to the big red and black 60-watt.
Was that a diode laser?
No, those are CO2s.
Okay. All right. So Chip, the one you have, the one that I had, the Monport, that
Yeah.
little, that's non-Lightburn compatible. What is the deal with non-Lightburn compatible and Lightburn compatible lasers, Jack?
First one I got, the K40, it was had to use this K40 Whisperer software. Oh Lord, that was the awfulest piece of software. I would absolutely suggest making sure the laser is Lightburn compatible. They're Ueda controllers. They're Lightburn compatible.
Okay. Keith is wondering, can you do aluminum with 45-watt laser? Do you need to tilt it?
Yep. 45 watt, I need to know what chemistry the laser is. The fiber, absolutely. Are you wanting to engrave the paint off or the anodizing off of aluminum, or do you want to actually get a deep engraving in the aluminum? So I don't really have enough information there to answer that question.
Okay. Liberty, how's your throat doing?
My throat's not too bad. It's that I'm coughing a lot and all of this congestion's up in here. So yeah.
I'll keep doing the questions on JR. Jack using Lightburn with Vectoric, getting them set up so they play nice with each other. Example, I've done all the mill carving on the part, now want to laser my logo on the part, still on the table. So I guess what he's saying is the alignment of the router.
And he's talking about Lightburn too. Lightburn will definitely control a Gerbil-based CNC router. It will not control the Maslow-based routers. And so it's pretty much as far as you have to do your framing to get it placed properly. But since you're going between two different programs, but make you a tool path, frame that tool path, and then you can jog the head around to exactly where you need it. But that's how you would do that.
Yeah, so he's got a carved part on the table that he did on his router, and then he wants to make sure he's lined up properly with the Lightburn. I'm just designing it.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of router he's got, whether or not Lightburn will operate it.
Okay, so
I'm just Gerbil based, it will.
Okay. All right. Does homing sequence on the router help?
That's
how
you're probably going to want to jog the router to the position till you get it framed out, and then zero everything out. So the homing won't help on that. I don't have homing on my long mill.
Okay. John is saying, how do you adjust the material test parameters so that it works as it is shown in the documentation? So I think what he's saying here is you got the test parameters and it shows something in the documentation. So he's wanting to match that. So he's have to make some adjustments.
I don't know documentation and what parameters you want to change.
I'm guessing the basic settings.
Yeah.
So if he's dialing in for
test patterns.
Yeah, test parameters.
That's bringing up the test material. That's all these the parameters in your test box. You click on your parameter and you can change whether you want it to go from speed, power, interval, or how many passes. That might be another important one right there. passes. If you've got a thick piece of material and you're wanting to cut through it, I would not go any slower than maybe 5 millimeters a second. If you got a diode laser and you got it set at 100% and you got it slowed down to 5 millimeters per second and it does not go through, add a pass. Don't go any slower. Just add more passes. But as far as that test pattern, yeah, you just click that drop down box. And so if you wanted to change that to power and you want to start at 10%, and you might want to stop that at 80% just to see what the colors are going to look like between those. Between those, that's it. That's real easy to change those right there.
Okay. How does the lens come into play here?
On the diodes and CO2s, generally, most all diodes anyway, you cannot change the lenses.
Right.
If anything, I know people sell replacement lenses. That's not really the lens. That's a protective coating, so you don't mess up your lens. The CO2s do come with different lenses you can get, and usually it's either a 2-inch lens or a 4-inch lens.
Okay. Yeah. Duck
And
Wood.
they,
I just want to say, Duck Wood was saying you need to test grids for every different material you use. Is that correct?
yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Every material is going to react a little bit different because you got, like say, you got oak. It's just like on the router. You got oak, you got mahogany, you got walnut. They're all going to engrave differently. I really like engraving on cherry. Cherry gives you a nice dark mark.
All right. Okay. We are going to go to Cody. I just got a 10-watt UV laser. Any tips or resources would be greatly appreciated.
For the UV, I don't have UV. I blame 10 watt. That's $1 right there. That's some money.
Okay.
Laser everything on YouTube. Laser everything. Discord channel. I am a moderator there. There's a bunch of resources in that Discord channel. So for the UV, laser everything is where you want to be.
All right. We'll link the Discord channel in the description and in the comments too. Wally share. I use Lightburn with my laser. Has anyone tried Milmage for their CNC? That's the Lightburn's version of Vectric, right? What do you know?
I have used Milmage. I do have it on a couple of different computers. It works.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
It works.
But you're a Vectric guy, aren't you?
It does not have any 3D capability yet. It's extremely limited, but it does work.
Okay. Yeah, it's still new, so they have a lot of development to do before they
I don't
can
even think it's released yet, is it? It's still in RC.
Oh, I don't know. All right. Epper one. Why don't you use the latest version of Lightburn since nice new features in the newest version, 2.02?
2.0 has some bugs right now, for one. So I have not renewed my license. This is a buy once and you get to keep it forever. But just like Vectric, you have to pay to get the newest versions. I have not paid to get the newest version. 1.7.08 is the last version that will work on Linux. I've got a fresh copy of Windows 11 installed on this computer. I just installed it about an hour before the stream. I erased my Linux and installed Windows just for this stream. But I primarily use Linux. And when I get done with the stream, I'll take Windows 11 back off and I'll put Linux back on. That's why I stick with 1.7.8. It's got the snipping tool. I think this is the first version that had the snipping tool. But version 2 does not really have a whole lot of that many good more features, better features.
Okay.
And there are some people having some problems with it right now.
Okay. Let's see. Just want to sidestep for a little bit, folks. I want to say if you're enjoying this and getting some information out of this, and take a minute to give us a thumbs up at the bottom of the video. And also, if what we do every week and people taking their time to do things like this, take a minute and give us a review on Google. If you like the customer service that Liberty gives you, and Julianne's always in the background making sure everything's checked out, and the videos we put out there, give us a Google review. 5 stars would be awesome. And I also wanted to just mention, just sidestep a little bit on the business end. So, Chip, you have gone, I want to just talk about your evolution. So we'll just do this for about 5 minutes. Your evolution into coming up with something that you could market.
It started with having, and it sounds corny, but having you in the shop. You know, when you first came in, I thought you were making magnets for your kids, for your grandkids, you know, and then I started seeing all these bits going out, you know, those mail totes that you guys have, a stack of those with bits being, you know, Liberty going out to the post office. And the one thing you said that clicked, I don't know if I ever told you, but I was like, man, you're really selling a lot of stuff. He goes, well, that's where the business is at. It's online, you know. I mean, we're in a small town. There's only so much I can do, and there's only so many people that are gonna, you know, I heard a demographic that only 2% of the population does custom framing. So you have a town of 13,000, you know, that's not a lot of people. So, I mean, we've stayed busy, we've survived, but you know, that idea that more business is out there, you know, by way of the internet. And I wanted to come up with something like my father-in-law created a really successful company because he created a widget that everybody wanted. So based on that, and you're telling me that that's where the business is on the internet, that kind of made the spark. And so, and then the license plate was just an accident, you know, like, oh, this is, you know, I came up with the pet portraits and I didn't sell a lot of those. So I'm hoping the license plate thing takes off because I really like making them, you know, they're kind of fun. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm going with that.
All right. Yeah. So the reason I brought that up is, well, first of all, the online thing, right? Business, some people are successful offline, but there's a lot of business online, but also is evolution. You did the dog pictures, which I guess you still do.
Yeah.
Where people set in their pet pictures, and he'll customize the background and stuff. And now he's on these license plates. And what I like about that is it's customizable, but it's got a cookie cutter type of thing to it. So you add the personality or personal flavor to it, but it's still cookie cutter. Exactly. And so he's dialing into a niche, that very interesting one too.
And it's kind of nice to, you know, so 30 years, a lot of people start winding down. They start thinking about, you know, I'm getting ready to turn 61 next week. A lot of my peers are retiring. Gary, your peers are retiring too. And you're a few years older, but, you know, and now after doing the same thing, basically the same thing for 25 years, you know, it's like new energy and new good reason to go to work. Is there's more things to do. They're interesting, you know, so it's kind of recharged. It's kind of like starting over, you know. I kind of have the same energy I did when I was 30 when I first started the business. So
okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. It's just incentive things for people to think about. Liberty at the checkout. She is not feeling good, so she's checking out. I want to say thank you to Robert. Have fun in Texas, Julianne. There's in Liberty. There is a additional fun for your steaks. Julianne's in the background going, woot, woot, woot. Thank you, brother. She thanks you, and they'll thank you, and I have no idea what's going to happen in Texas. What happens in Texas, it won't stay in Texas. I don't even want to know. All right. Because I'm not going. It's just the ladies are. Question from Gerald. Hi, everyone. Jack, could you give some tips on tracing in Lightburn?
Sure can. You want to share the screen?
Yep.
We can go over this again. I still got this up because it's really simple. Like I said, Lightburn does have one of the best tracing tools. All you got to do is make sure your Well, oh, I was on the snipping tool. You got to make sure you have your select tool selected. Let's get rid of that right there. You have to make sure your image is selected and just right click, trace image. 90% of the time it's spot on. There is some sliders down here. You can clean up some of the letters, but 90% of the time too, I would replace the letters with typed out text. But that's really all there is to it. You got these sliders down here. You can clean up your trace a little bit, but usually as soon as you hit your trace button, it's pretty spot on. You hit OK, move your vector out, ungroup it, and see these little half moons that didn't do really good. You can replace that with a just a circle, or you can. There's also an adjust image button right up underneath the trace image. You can actually go in here and adjust the image quality to an extent. You can almost get it vector quality right there before you trace it. And that's going to be different for every image, of course, but that's all there is to tracing in Lightburn.
Okay.
It's really fast.
Yep, that is quick. Wally, how would you fit in the scale between free programs like Easel and paid programs like VCarve Desktop? I'm not sure the question, how would it fit in the scale between free programs? I guess the way I would interpret this question is Easel and Vectric. Well, Vectric's way up here.
A little bit higher.
Yeah, that is. Well,
Move Easel down to the floor.
I'm hitting the roof right now, so I can't get any higher. Hitting the roof of my image.
Equate Easel to Microsoft Paint.
There you go. Microsoft 10. Microsoft 3.
Microsoft Paint.
Gerald is saying, do you have any tips on using VCarve Pro and transferring vectors into Lightburn? For example, making a crib board, peg holes, and cut it out, and finishing the other vectors with a laser. So we're getting into pretty tight detail where you got lots of holes that he's doing. And I maybe he wants to do some designing on the crib board around the holes, do some brackets around every 5 holes. And how would he, I think that's what he's going to ask in here.
That's actually pretty easy to do. In VCarve Pro, all you got to do is export it to an STL, and that'll go right into Lightburn. I do that all the time. I do 3D carves of the open book model that comes in Vectric, except I put a little base on mine. I'll take that off of the CNC and I'll bring it into my laser, and I'll bring those vectors out of VCarve right into Lightburn. I'll have a little vector right for the seam of the book, and the same vector on the top that you use to warp your text. I'll use those as alignment tools and actually engrave the text on the laser. That way I don't have to worry about any paint fill or anything. I get a good dark mark with the laser.
Okay. Chip, any more questions from you that are inspired?
I thought I had one a second ago about the trace. So when you trace that and you move that image up, you basically can move the image up to where, I guess, the home, what we would call home, or the starting point, or do you move the laser to that's my confusing part, is looking at the drawing and knowing where is the cutter gonna start. And so like if you started to cut that out, like I would take out the letters because I just want the outline and the holes. Where would that start cutting if you went to cut that right now?
That's where you would have to frame it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I took them letters out, like I said, I would just for instance, I'd replace that where yours was oval, but I'd replace that with circle. They were circle on this one.
Yeah.
So I'd actually hit Control D, and I would just Control D is duplicate, and I would just use my arrow keys to move that one over into that place. I'd hold Control, and so I get a more fine-tuned step, and I'm gonna put this on my fiber laser because that's the only one I got set up right now. I would get off that. I would get your select tool, select. You can select both of these actually, but I would select this circle
Mm-hmm.
and I click this frame button. Now your
Okay.
head is going to move to this position.
Okay, so
It's
it'll
going
go
to
to where
trace
you have it
that right
selected.
there, so you know
Yeah.
exactly where it's going to cut. Then I'd
Mhm.
come over here and I'd frame that one, and it would trace this one out. And if you've got those two perfectly dialed in, you can select the whole thing and hit start, send it.
And because you already selected the two circles, it's going to do everything else in proportion to that. So
Right.
okay,
That's your register marks.
yeah. No matter where the material, well, I guess. So is there I guess can you make like a kind of like a corner, almost like a jig where you set it in the same place every time,
Mhm.
like almost like a clamp. Because whether
Make a jig.
what's that? Yeah, whether I select that or not, if my material is not in the right place, it still could cut it off, where the holes aren't lined up like the example I was showing you.
There. So if we want to make a jig, once you got those lined up,
Mm-hmm.
that's the image. So I need to make a vector around that.
Sounds to me,
We do a
Chip.
trace.
Yeah. So when you print your things off, Chip, they're printed off on a piece of paper, right? Large, well, whatever medium you're using. But then you have to. It's not printing out just the shape of the plate. It's printing out with larger material, and so that's what you're playing with.
Yeah, so I basically cut my masonite, a rectangle without the rounded corners, and then I just file off the corners and then cut the holes. But
Yeah.
with the laser cutter, I would have an inch of space around the license plate, and then wanting it to start where the image starts, and having a place on the bed, I guess, where I can so if I made them all the same, extra inch all the way around, and I put that corner, I want to be able to put it in the same spot, I guess, or wherever
That's where you
the
would.
starting point is.
That's where you would take this frame.
Uh-huh.
You would snug that up against your honeycomb,
Okay.
your honeycomb bed. It would park right tight against your honeycomb bed, but not yet. Hang on. This is your license plate. You
Right.
would take your license plate. You would do you an offset, and your offset would be as big as your material. So once you got that offset, there's your jig. You put
Okay.
that against your honeycomb, and that's
So
how
the
you
honeycomb represents
reference
the bed, the cutting bed.
Yeah.
honeycomb. That's your cutting bed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes sense now.
All right. Okay, so we have Bill is saying we're doing a picture on a UH, a piece of wood with the Lightburn. What's the best setting for the wattage? What's a picture on a UH? What does that mean? On a UH.
I think he's saying
I don't know what that is.
picture on a piece of wood.
Oh, okay. Oh, he might be voicing it.
Yeah.
He's doing voiceover. What's the best setting for wattage? So what is the rule of thumb in this type of question when you're setting your wattage? Doing a picture. So he's doing a picture engraving.
Picture engraving for a 40 watt, and you're doing it on a piece of wood, is completely going to depend on what kind of wood it is. It can be drastically different between basswood and Baltic birch and oak.
Okay.
That's where you just got to play with your settings and get those numbers.
All right.
40 watt also depends on whether you were talking about diode or CO2. And talking about wood, so you're absolutely not talking about a fiber, because you do not want to try to do wood on a fiber laser. So there's a lot of holes in that question.
Okay. Jack, can you paint dark stuff behind clear acrylic with a blue diode? So I guess they wanted to do a cutout.
All right.
Cutout.
You're not going to cut clear acrylic. You can paint the back of clear acrylic, lay it down on a piece of metal. The diode laser is going to go through the acrylic, bounce off the metal, and it will flash back onto the painted surface. It's very nasty, extremely hard to do, extremely hard to get your numbers dialed in, but it is possible.
Okay. Why would somebody do it that way? Is that they're just trying to engrave on the back side of the acrylic, which would maybe be the front
Yeah, because
side?
they have a diode laser, and you're not going to do anything on clear acrylic with a diode laser without some sort of a medium like that.
Okay. Okay. Next question, let's see, is Liberty, but she's not here, so I'm gonna stop that. Chuck, what are your thoughts? Chuck is saying, what are your thoughts on adding laser to my CNC as opposed to getting a standalone laser machine? So it's a laser that mounts on the spindle that comes from the company or whatever. So what are your thoughts on that?
There's no one answer for everybody. If you're limited for space, I mean, that is absolutely an option. JTech makes some more powerful lasers that you can mount to your CNC. I would stick with 20 watt or above, and I would absolutely get a honeycomb and raise it up off of your spoil board. I like having that honeycomb material raised up and a piece of metal laying under it. That way, if I'm cutting through plywood or something, if I see that laser going through the honeycomb, I know it's making it through that material, for one. For two, having it raised up helps that smoke and everything go through. It actually helps the cut. And to get the best cut, you really need to have air assist. That's not really an option with CNC mounted lasers. So there are some drawbacks to having that system, but if you're limited on space, it is an option.
All right. Okay, we're at 9:30, so I'm going to bring out two more questions. So we got 7 in the queue, so I'm going to just find the 2 best here, and then we're going to do our giveaway. So let's see what we got. Okay. How do you vent your laser? Any thoughts on filter systems?
I've got a Elgu open frame diode laser. I got a little cheap zip up enclosure for it, and it's got a 4-inch vent that I pipe out the window. If you don't have them outside, you absolutely have to have them vented because you're burning material. Those fumes, you do not want them floating around in a closed environment. But you absolutely have to vent. Filtering, I wouldn't worry about filtering unless I'm in close proximity. If you're trying to take it to a craft fair or something, absolutely get a filter. But if you're out, unless you're not in a neighborhood or something, if you're out in your shop, I wouldn't worry too much about filtering it. I know a lot of people see contrary to that, but I mean, I do bonfires out here in the backyard all the time. It's the same thing.
Okay. The last question I want to handle is, I actually bumped it out of the queue, but it was, does Lightburn use layers?
That is pretty much the layers. All those colors at the bottom, those are your layers.
All
These down here are your layers, except for the last two. This last T1 and T2, those are strictly tool paths, but all the rest of them are layers.
Okay. There you go. There's the answer to that. Okay, very cool. All right. Well, at this point, first of all, Chip, one of the folks, check out the website we put for Chip. He makes those license plates, and he's making them now, but he just wants to make it faster on the laser. But custom
Faster and
born, show them the license plate again. A couple samples there.
Yeah, well, here's the original, regular size, and then converted to a bigger size with a Town Madison put on there. So,
Okay, and you can have these made any way you want, right? So you can change Madison to
Madison to Benzer to Jack to Garrett, whatever the year you were born, the county you're in, all that stuff.
Right, those are on his website. He does custom framing, so that's the links are in the description and in the comments. So
thanks for putting those up.
yeah. If you got any custom framing you want done, contact Chip. He's been at it for 30 years, so he's pretty darn good at it by now. Let's see, and then remember Kyle Ely's Vector Training. He's doing a Labor Day special starting tomorrow, all the way to Tuesday. 20% off the Vector Training course. If you haven't signed up, I do suggest you sign up. There were comments earlier about his course, and everybody recommends it after they go through it. Because if you're trying to DIY the Vector software, you're really you're gonna run into lots of bumps along the way. Okay, and with that, Julianne, are you ready to come out? Jack and Chip, you get to have a little fun with us. We do our weekly giveaway, so you can just see how this falls together. I'm going to bring Julianne out. This is where the real people that wear the pants at IDC Woodcraft take over.
Missing my partner in crime, though.
I know, Liberty's out sick, and it's my time for my beer. So I'm going to drink my beer.
All right, you guys. If you're just joining the IDC live stream for the first time, welcome. Hello. We do this lovely giveaway, usually at the end of the night, at the end of our live. All you have to do is head on over to the IDC YouTube page, and in the chat, enter this phrase just as you see it. Hashtag #, whatever you call it. Lasers. This week we are actually making it a surprise. We have been moving some things into our new space that we just got. So we have found some things that we didn't know we had.
Really?
We are going to make little gift packs for 2 people, maybe 3. I don't know if I'm feeling generous. And then we will ship those out to you. So, yeah, you'll be getting a collection of some interesting things.
Yeah, and
they are CNC related, not just out of our desks.
And I also put in the hashtag, so if IDC Woodcraft becomes a winner, then Julianne will have to tell whatever she's going to do. So we don't know until it happens. We haven't figured this one out yet.
Not necessarily junk, just extra things that we don't need. Extra product.
The junk drawer, huh?
I mean, if you want me to put something from my junk drawer in, I very well can.
Hey, you should do that. We should throw random junk drawer items into the packages. Make that the surprise thing. So when they get it.
Oh boy, it's going to be some empty, interesting looking bit containers. Maybe a cough drop that's a couple of years old.
Yeah, there you go. It'd be like a rummage thing or something.
There you go. Maybe some stickers from other people. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So Julianne got order of business cards. I've never had business cards, but I've been going to the shows. People keep asking, so I was like, okay, Julianne, have some business cards. So she had fun with those, and actually made one for her, made one for Liberty, made one for me, and all 3 of them are different. They're very cool. Yep. They all have a picture of our pretty faces on it.
I was gonna say, if you guys see me in Liberty in Texas, you'll have to ask us for a business card before we run out of them.
Right. Jeff says you should put in some pens and a half bag of M&Ms.
A half bag of M&Ms?
Yeah.
Like we've eaten half of it?
No, if you're going to throw in the extra stuff, throw in the pen that ran out of ink and the empty wrapper M&Ms, Jeff.
Oh.
That would be the junk items.
We always send M&Ms.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Chip, a box of broken bits that were returned.
No, we recycle those. We've got somebody that recycles carbide, so we collect all those and send them in. We get that refund back.
Right, but we want to get them to see what's happening, though.
Exactly.
one of the reasons. And we just want to make sure that if people are going on the guarantee, we know they're doing our bits. Let's see. Miss Julian, nice to you. So, Chip, what did you think about our little show tonight?
Yeah, it's cool. I'm kind of familiar with it from, working in the back when you're doing this, trying to be quiet.
Mhm.
So kind of just seeing how the whole thing, I've been on Zoom calls, several Zoom calls. So, but yeah, it's, real informative. So yeah, I appreciate you. It kind of worked out that, I started talking about the laser and using that little laser of yours and kind of got the ball rolling on that. So yeah, it's kind of good timing.
And you got some insight from a guy that's really good with lasers.
Yeah. So yeah, appreciate it, Jack.
I play around a little bit.
Yeah. So where are we at there?
I'm thinking this is the best idea that I've seen. Do an unboxing video if you win this round. Yes, definitely.
Oh, an unboxing video. So unboxing what?
Unboxing what they win
Whatever
tonight.
gets sent
Oh,
out.
that would be cool. You don't even know what you're winning. You just send it to them.
Yeah, I'm not telling them what they're getting because I already have
this
it
is fun.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Jack set a precedence on that. His unboxing of his calipers.
Yeah. Jack did a little review video on the IDC Woodcraft calipers.
Oh,
I really like them.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to make sure when I got those and we got those branded and stuff, searching the different makers, it had to be industrial grade, had to have the 3 decimal points in it, just 2 in metric, and a large screen display. Right. So the big thing was large screen display.
All right. It looks like we're at 171 people.
All right.
And we haven't moved.
Okay.
72.
Hit it.
So, all right. I'm going to draw 2 times. If it draws Garrett, we'll have to draw again. So, all right, you guys, let's roll.
All right. Ellen, Madra, Ellen. So this is Ellen. She's on every week, pretty much. She's got the most interesting CNC business on the planet. Ellen, that's so cool. And when we were at the Vectric Show convention in Texas, Ellen showed up there, and Liberty and Ellen were like this the whole time. They're just buds. Ellen, congratulations. Happy to see you win, sister.
Yeah, and that was right after she said, I'm not good at taking videos.
Now you got to take video.
Wait to see that video, Ellen.
Yep. It's going to be a good
All
one.
you got to do is have your husband put the camera on there, and you don't even need to see your face as you unbox it.
Just your hands.
Yeah.
We'll make it good. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get this second winner going. We had some last minute people. All right, then. Here we go.
Roll it again.
Here we are.
All right. I saw IDC fly by, so I'm
I did too.
All right. And Sam was really close. David.
All right.
All right, David. Woot, 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 woot.
Okay. Now, Ellen, we know who you are. David, I'm going to need you to pop over to idcwoodcraft.com and hit that contact us page. I'm going to need your first and last name, address, and email, please. There's a lot of Davids in this world. We need to figure out which one you are.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
All right.
So, with that, folks, thank you for hanging around as we talk laser light burn here. And Jack, thanks for taking the time to explain some of this stuff and answer some of these questions.
I hope somebody got something out of it anyway.
Yeah, and Chip, thanks for coming in. And I just thought it was cool just to there's someone doing some business work, and he's trying to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, after seeing you do this, to be actually on it, it's kind of cool.
All right.
So yeah, I appreciate it, Jack. It's good to meet you, and I'm hoping this this works out for what I'm doing. I think it looks like it will. So
So,
All right,
so
cool.
if I get contacted by multiple Davids, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, David, you're gonna have to give us a tip of who you are here. It helps because that's a little too broad for us.
I was gonna say I've got other Davids that are just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ellen said she was having a rough week, and this just made her feel better. Thank you. All right, Ellen. We love you. Everybody, thanks for coming on board. Remember, the links are in the description. Kyle's Ely's course, he's doing his Labor Day weekend sale, and 20% off. And Chip does the custom framing. He also is doing those custom license plates. So your websites are in the description of this video, so you can get stuff from him. And with that, thank you guys. We're going to check out.
All right.
Here we go. Hasta
See you
luego.
guys. Have a good night.